Welcome to WinStar Roundtable 2022, and we're here to talk about Improbable. I'm honored to be with Reynolds Bell of RBTS Consulting Services, Thoroughbred Services. Stuart Grant is with us via Zoom from beautiful Florida, right? That's nice.
Nice and warm down here.
That's right, of the Elkstone Group. David Hanley, our general manager, Liam O'Rourke, our bloodstock director of Stallion Seasons, and we're here to talk about Improbable. Reynolds, you came to us early in his 3-year-old year, to try to buy in for your great clients, JF and JFB and Alpha Delta. Yeah. What was it that really attracted you to Improbable?
Anytime you see a horse as a 2-year-old run off 3 straight wins and cap it off with a grade 1, it's going to get your attention. I love his fight, his determination. He was a horse that always gave me the impression that he loves his job.
Yeah.
And he was determined when he went into those races, to the point where he was ready to get it on, right away.
Even before the gate opened.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But just the, his competitive nature really impressed me. And with his pedigree, with his ability on the racetrack, it was, an easy question to ask you.
Right. Stuart, what about you? You came in a little later as a shareholder after we syndicated him. What kind of attracted you to him?
So with me, it does have to do with his race record, but obviously, with all unproven sires, you're trying to guess, what are they going to throw down the road? And I like the idea that he was precocious as a 2-year-old, went undefeated as a 2-year-old, and won by lengths in all his starts, including a grade 1. Had a bit of a tough time as a 3-year-old, but I love the idea that he comes back with a fabulous 4-year-old year. Certainly had a chance of being the champion, finished second in the Breeders' Cup, but reeled off 3 grade 1s. And so that sort of tells me, okay, maybe this is a stallion who can get you precocious 2-year-olds and get us runners there, but also a stallion who has some staying power, ran, solid in his 4-year-old years. So I'm looking at, maybe we got best of both worlds there. And so I found that really, really attractive. And I think we're going to see that's what he's going to throw.
Well, that's great, Stuart. So, Dave, take us back to when he was a yearling.
What I remember of him as a yearling is how well he was put together through his back and into his hind leg. Yeah. He had a really strong loin on him, great hip, great hind leg. And as he developed, into his 2-year-old year, he really grew up through his shoulder. And when you look at him today, I say, he's one of these horses that he's got all the parts to be a good horse. He's not a really big horse, maybe a little shorter coupled, and maybe not a really stretchy horse, but he has a tremendous length of shoulder to him, and also a big triangle to his hip, and really tremendous length from his hip to his hock. And, he has a long forearm, a long gaskin, and his movement, his use of his back end was the thing that really struck us. Mm-hmm. When he started training as a 2-year-old, when he started galloping, he just bounded off his hind leg round the track, and it was effortless for him to do it. And it became evident pretty quickly that this horse was pretty special. And, he was mature, high energy, everything was effortless for him. His mechanics were amazing right from the get-go.
Yeah, his mechanics are off the charts. Mm. I wrote down a couple of quotes. Drayden Van Dyke, who rode him as a 2-year-old, his stride is so efficient, he hits the ground like a cloud. And that's what, when you look at this horse, like you said, not only does he move great, he barely hits the ground when he does it. What about his first crop, Liam?
Yeah, absolutely. He retired to us off of a championship season, obviously with great popularity. As soon as we got him back to the farm and started showing him to breeders, the response was immediate. The phone started ringing as soon as people started seeing him. We bred a full book of 177 mares in his first year. And he was strong in both numbers and quality. I mean, he bred some great mares, the dams of Zapessa, Sistron, Force the Pass, Classic Empire, Palace, Conte Partir, just an outstanding group of mares, grade 1 producing mares. So, he's got a great foundation. And the data shows this too, that he bred an excellent group of mares. His CI was number 2 among freshman sires. It was number 2 behind Not This Time among stallions under 50,000. And we saw this translate over to the sales ring as well. Number 2 freshman
Had a
covering
great
sire.
November, didn't he?
He really outpaced a lot of his competitors at the same price level. So I think he's got some separation there. And I think there's a lot of confidence here, going into a second year based on what we all got done in his first year.
What do you remember of City Zip, Reynolds?
Another one of the reasons I liked Improbable was that it was by City Zip. And then the dam of Improbable being by AP Indy and that giving you the classic distance. So a lot of good ingredients.
Yeah, and also, like you said earlier, the family, the Darby Dan family. I mean, I look back through that. Shadowgay, and you have a Derby winner and a Belmont winner. You've got a Preakness winner in Little Current. You've got one of the mares won 4 grade 1s, like the Chuvie, the Beldame, all mile and an eighth. And then you put the City Zip on top of it. You've got not only the precociousness of City Zip, you've got that's why he probably carried his speed a mile and a quarter.
And he's also inbred to Blush and Groom, so top and bottom. And with his markings, with the white leg and the color of him, you can see maybe a little bit of that.
Sure.
And Blushing Groom was a champion miler, wasn't
Exactly.
he?
Yeah. So you've got a very precocious sire line. Plus, this horse was such a mature individual as a 2-year-old. And in fact, would have run earlier, I think. But if you remember, Elliot, he got kicked in the jaw and broke his jaw.
That's right.
In the spring of his 2-year-old year.
Set him back, 6 weeks?
60 days in the stall for it to heal. We couldn't put a bridle on him. And I mean, the minute he got back to training, he was like right there at the.
Yeah, and he ran in September.
And he ran in September. So I think the physical maturity coming from the sire line, he showed all of that.
And you have to talk about all that at a price,
Yeah.
because that's one of the key things. I mean, we breed a lot of horses and a lot of mares, and I'm sitting there saying, okay, what can I get for what? And it's funny how one race can make a difference. He runs a marvelous Breeders' Cup to finish second, and not to take anything away from Authentic, but he ran 6 lengths farther than Authentic, I believe, and lost by 2.
Ran the best
He
number.
gets a clean trip there, and all of a sudden this horse is $75,000, $85,000.
That's right.
But when you start talking about Improbable at 35, it's like, wow, that's this is where I see potential and, more important, value. And so as a breeder, that's what I'm looking for. What's the potential versus the value? And to me, that's what caused me to jump in and buy a share.
You think he could be leading freshman sire?
Well, I think if he passes on to his babies his physical traits and his early maturity and his physical strength, why couldn't he be a sire of 2-year-olds?
Yeah.
I think a lot of our commercial breeders that we do a lot of business with are seeing it that way too, and have been booking mares to him this year with that, that kind of vision, that imagination that, this horse has all the ingredients, the numbers, the quality to, be that leading freshman sire and have some great 2-year-old results and, create some good commercial opportunities for them.
Well, if you haven't seen Improbable, come see him. Just a fabulous opportunity to breed to a fabulous horse that could get you anything from a 6 furlong horse to a mile and a quarter horse.